Today I'll be doing my presentation on the subculture of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is located in the northern horn of Africa. It is near the equator and it is a landlocked country. There's been much political unrest in Ethiopia. There's been violence, many terrorist groups, and there are many political parties that threaten to overturn or have plots against the current government. They do try to elect a prime minister and president. The economy is largely agricultural by growing coffee, cereals, and they also have commerce of textiles, copper, and hydropower, which has grown quite substantially in the last few years to include sale to other countries. My interviewee was a mid-30-year-old woman who moved here approximately a year ago with her 2 children and husband who is studying for his PhD here in Cleveland. She is educated herself. She has a bachelor's in management and was working in banking in Ethiopia before she moved here. She's not allowed to work in the United States due to her visa. And she's always lived in large urban cities in Ethiopia. She grew up in the capital. For the elements, I chose time. Ethiopia has a unique calendar of their own. It's approximately 8 years behind ours. It has a 12-month plus a 13th month included in that of only 5 days. The current date is actually 2005. The interesting thing about their calendar is when I did her daughter's immunization records, I had to transcribe them to correspond to our current year and change the dates on them. Also, their clock is different. They start their day at 6 a.m. versus 12 a.m. Due to their location near the equator. The sun rises at the same time every day throughout the year, so they set their clock for a 6 a.m. start instead. Also, social organization. Women run the household in Ethiopia. They do the housework and the chores, but they are also allowed to work outside the house. Many generations live in the houses now because there are no places for the elderly, which I'll talk about soon. And then also a lot of people live by themselves due to the fact they might have moved to the city and left their family behind in the country. The elderly population is not very large in Ethiopia. On the last slide it showed 5% of the population is elderly, and most of it is the younger generation. Their life expectancy is only 75 years. Many are poor and rely on their families for support. Many are widowed due to the fact of AIDS, and they then, if they live with their family, also provide the care and keeping of the house for the younger generations. There are not many nursing homes for the elderly in Ethiopia. Elderly care in Ethiopia is fairly non-existent. In 1995, only one hospital for approximately 660,000 people existed, and those hospitals were in the main capitals in the larger cities. Elderly care is not high due to the large number of AIDS patients. Ethiopia, as many know, had a large famine and drought, and then the AIDS epidemic also. When speaking to my interviewee, nothing was ever brought up about the AIDS, the poverty, or any issues in Ethiopia. She was very happy about her times when she talked about living in Ethiopia. She's anxious to get back, which they'll return in 2016. But she's also very happy about living in the United States. She had no hesitation about coming to the United States with her husband and family. Their financial situation has changed quite a bit because they live mainly on his stipend from the school. But she was very happy and content being here, doing most of the house chores again, learning the city, and she's hoping to work someday if she can change her visa. But she will be happy to return home and see her family.